Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. So here we are with our session number 184 for Quranic Arabic grammar and in which we are doing Surah Taha, Nahw, and Sarf. And mainly these days we are focusing on Nahw of Surah Taha, and inshallah we'll quickly go over Sarf as well after we have covered few more verses. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In our last session, we learned a very special kind of a pronoun. Anyone remembers that? What was the special pronoun that we have covered in our pronoun series as well, but we redid it in our last session number 183. Anyone remembers that pronoun? And it was seen here. The Miru Shan. Very well done. Very well done. Barakallahu fiki. Fikuma, very good job. So what was special about this very pronoun? What was special about this pronoun? What have we learned that this pronoun is special in these many ways? So this pronoun has no ism that it goes back to, as Sister Faiza has typed. So Sister Faiza has typed that there is going to be no ism before it, which it is going to go back to. It can only be huwa and hiya. Sister Zohra said it is only going to be either huwa or hiya. So it is only going to be third person singular. Sister Afshan says you don't translate it as a normal pronoun, right? You don't translate it as a normal pronoun. It is the connotation that we are going to get from it is not going to be indeed he. No, it is shan. It is the fact of the matter, or you can, it is telling you the hal of whatever is coming after it. Okay, the condition is that whoever comes to his Rabb as mujrim, then for him is Jahannam, and he is not going to live while he is not going to live in it, die in it, nor live. So he's in an in-between state. Everyone with me so far? Do you all understand? Or only Sister Zohra, Sister Faiza, and I think I saw an answer from Sister Dilruba too. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. So always remember, when you have a pronoun that comes without any marja, which means there is no ism that it is going to go back to. For example, in case of Qul huwallahu ahad, what is huwa? Is there any marja for it? Is it any place of return for it? Any ism that it can return to? No, there is nothing. So huwa, when it does not, it is jumla after kul was jumla to ibtidaiya, and huwallahu ahad is your maqulul qawl, and there is no ism mentioned before. That pronoun is going to be called the Mirushan as well. Okay. So, and also I see that it can be attached and it can be detached, right? It can be in both states. It can be attached, as we are seeing in case of innahu, and it can be detached as in case of huwa, in kul huwa huwa ahad. And you will notice that this pronoun cannot be matuf, it cannot be muakkid, it cannot be badal. Okay, it is not permissible to omit its khabar. Sometimes you will see some cases where you do not have any khabar, but in this case, you will see that the Miroshan is always going to have its khabar mentioned after it. It is not possible for this pronoun to be muakhar. Can sometimes your pronoun, which is a mubtada, it can come after its khabar? Yes, barakallahu feek. Yes, fathun huwa. Remember that example? Is this the victory? When there was a conversation between Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. I hope I'm not, misquoting anything, but, fathun huwa, is this the victory at the time of Sulh Hudaybiyah, right? So you are seeing, fathun before there is, taqdeem of khabar for ta'jil, and and but in this case, when you have the mirushan, it's always going to be its right position. Will you all remember this for me? You please make sure it cannot be dual, it cannot be plural, okay? Now, if you have any pronoun that is dual or plural and there is no ism mentioned before it, will you label it as the mirushan, my dear sisters? Don't label it as the mirushan, okay? Remember to not label it as the mirushan, okay? Because always remember, this pronoun which is going to be labeled as the mirushan, as Sister Zohra said in the beginning of the session, is a third person singular, okay? There is a topic that you're going to go over in balagha, where you are going to learn idmar wa izhar. So idmar means something. Idmar, you are using a pronoun. This is an expression of speech where you use a pronoun without using an ism before, but that is going to be covered in balagha, not in regular grammar, okay? So when it comes to this very topic, do not ever label any pronoun that is dual or plural as the mirushan, okay? For example, I don't want to spend more time on this, but if I just quickly can find something, I will be mentioning it to you guys. So what can happen in this case? Sometimes you are going to see that your the mirushan is omitted, okay? It is going to be omitted in some cases, and we are going to go over those cases very soon, inshallah, okay? Sometimes this very pronoun can be omitted. Is this clear to all of you? And this happens in a very special case. You are going to see it omitted after an mukhaffafa min as-sakila. So you are going to hear. Yes, you may see only an, and there's an is mukhaffafa is going to be there. An mukhaffafa, which is a lightened form of anna, is going to be there. And then there is something coming after it, but there is no damiru shan mentioned there. Okay. So that is for another time. I because that topic is I have kept that topic for another day. So is this you just remember that sometimes it itself can be omitted. For now, if you can just remember this, if you can just ratify this and understand and find the examples later, or I can put some examples there after the session, okay, when I'm going to share my slides with you guys, okay. So this is a little bit about the mirushan, and very important pronoun that you must know by heart. All these points you must know by heart. This can be the part of your quiz whenever you are going to get a quiz on all the pronouns. Okay, so that was the end of my the Merushan. Then in the last session, when we were learning about, we were covering Manshartiya. Um, we went over how this man is going to be labeled as Mubtada. Everyone remembers that, right? Everyone knows the conditions when your man is going to be Mubtada. When I'm going to share, and I think I have already posted these slides for you on the YouTube channel. And whenever you get a chance to go over them, you will find, I hope I have put that one in there, that the conditions when you are going to see your man shartiya labeled as mubtada. If it is followed by fi'l lazim, if the fi'l it is followed by fi'l muta'addin that has a maf'ul bihi mentioned after it, or when it is fi'l naqis kana, it is going to be labeled as mubtada. If it is followed by fi'l muta'addin that does not have maf'ul bihi mentioned after it, then man is going to be labeled as maf'ul bihi muqaddam. Is this clear to all of you? We have gone over it when we were learning about types of man. Like we have covered 3 types of man in our series: man shartiya, istifhamiya, and man mausula. And man shartiya, just remember, there's only one condition when it is going to be maf'ul bihi muqaddam, if it is followed by a fi'l that takes an object, that takes a maf'ul bihi but does not have its maf'ul bihi mentioned after it. In this case, you are seeing a rabbahu is labeled as maf'ul bihi for yati, so you automatically should be quickly labeling it as mubtada. and then when there is a mubtada, there is a khabar after it. And we have said that, we can say our jumlatu shartiya wa jawabu shart is going to be the khabar for man, which is mubtada. Is everyone in agreement with that? When it comes to your jawabu shart, in this case, the status of your jawabu shart, inna lahu jahannam, what are we going to call the status of our jawabu shart as? It is going to be fi mahalli jazmin, fi mahalli jazmin. And what is the rationale behind it? There's always a reason for everything that you do, right? For everything you have to have a reason, and if am asking you a question right now, there is a reason for it, because it is muqtarin bil fa, it is attached with fa, it is attached bil fa. That is why I am going to label it as fi mahalli jasmin. If there was no fa, there is no fi mahalli jasmin there as well. If there is no idaf hujaya, there is no room for any statement like fi mahalli jasmin for your jawabu shart. I hope this was clear to all of my sisters, right? Are you all in agreement? Yes. Yes, absolutely. And advatu shart, the jasmin is going to be only when your advatu shart is jazima. It does not apply because there are many advatu shart that are going to have fa attached to their jawab, especially amma. Amma shartiya always has jawabu shart muqtarin bil fa. It always have a jawabu shart that has fa attached to it. But in that case, you cannot ever say that your jawabu shart is fi mahalli jasmin, because amma is not among those that that is one of the advatu shart jazima. It is ghair jazim. So this statement that your jawabu shart is going to be fi mahalli jasmin does not apply in that case, despite the fa is present. I hope this is clear, and if it is not, do listen to this statement of mine after the session when I upload it. Okay. Now there was one thing you labeled mujriman as hal. What kind of a hal? Now you know. Now you know that there are two types of hal in terms of how you understand it. When I ask you if it is muakkida or muassisa, among those two types, this is another additional information. If I remove this mujriman, am I missing out on something? Am I missing out on a detail? Absolutely, I am. If that hal that makes me miss out on my additional details is there, I'm going to label it as hal al-muassisa. When it came to la yamutu fiha wa la yahya, there was a question on our YouTube channel. How is it hal, jumlatu haliya for Jahannam? I hope this is clear to all of you, because Jahannam is it can be a sahibul hal, which is proper. It's a proper name for hellfire. And there is a pronoun in our jumlatu failya, which is going to go back to Jahannam, and therefore it meets all the conditions, right? And it's a simple way how you can connect these two together. Okay, now this sentence la yahya is going to be nasb because of what? Why is la yahya, which is another jumla to failya, fail mudari wal fa'il damir mustatir huwa, and it is fail mudari marfu bidamatul muqaddara al alif, it is going to be nasban status bil atf. Very well done. So you are going to call the first sentence and jumla haliya fi mahalli nasbin. Then you are going to say wow atf, and la yahya is going to be fi mahalli nasbin bil atf. Because of atf, it is also going to follow the same status, because you have learned when you are going to learn label the sentences, the status is the sentence is going to follow the status of a sentence before it, if the sentences are connected through a connector, which is an atf. Okay, if your two sentences are going to be connected through atf, they are going to follow each other in status because of atf. Is this clear to all of you? Right? Because of the atf, the status gets transferred, okay, from one to another. So now your another sentence comes, innahu man yati rabbahu mujriman. Now there is somebody else who's coming to his rabb as mu'minan. Okay, so man again is going to be, wow is going to be Can we call it at? Barakallahu feek. And it's going to be connected to the sentence before it. Okay. Ya'tihi is going to be your mudare, majzoom, and there are three signs of jazm status, right? Either the word is going to have a sakoon, or if a word is from afalul khamsa, it is going to lose its noon, or if a word has a ya, alif, or waw at the end, it's going to omit its waw, alif, and ya in the majzoom status. And here, what happened? Ya got dropped. He is going to be maful bihi. Mu'minan is going to be again just like mujriman was a hal, mu'minan, do you call it hal or what? What do you want to label it? Hal. Barakallahu feek. And this is again going to be hal al muassisa, right? It is going to be again your hal al muassisa. Then this sentence is followed by another sentence which is qad amila salihat. Who is going to tell me what is happening here? It is starting with qad. And if there is a fail madin, which is preceded by qad, we have been learning lately that usually, this is only qad, right? It is not laqad. If it was laqad, then you think about qasam. But when it is only qad, and there is a one hal mentioned, and then there is another statement that can be possibly hal, think of hal, right? Because it is beginning with qad. Okay. So now what happens when your jumla to failure madin comes up as hal, it is going to be preceded by either qad or waqad. Why is no waw needed here? Mawadiul wa'ul haliya, when we were learning about mawadiul wa'ul haliya, what is there in this sentence that suffices? There's a pronoun here, barakallahu fiki. If there is a pronoun already in your jumla haliya, then waw is not needed before qad. Okay, qad by itself suffices. Okay, it suffices as something that is coming up as that is the beginning of jumla tu haliya. Everyone with me? Qad in Quran is mainly used, if you remember, when we were learning about different types of qad, we almost went over, I would say, 5 types, and the five things we were learning in it, that what can be the reason for a qad in any given statement. And when we were learning that, where is my slide? Okay, I think I just missed it. Okay, no problem. So when you have qad in any given sentence, in Quran, mainly the purpose is tawqeed wa tahqiq. Do you all remember this? That in Quran, when I was teaching you that, there could be 5 reasons. It can be for tawqeed wa tahqiq. It can be for taqreeb, that, the action just happened, just like when we hear qad qamatis salah, the salah just got established. It can be for doubt and to show that the action has really happened. Lishak wa taqleel. It can be for hope, like, maybe someone is going to be there in this particular case when it is followed by mudare. It can be for taksir, that it's showing that, qad before a jumla to mudare is indicating the action happened very frequently. Okay, so there are 5 types of qad that you have gone over with me, but I have given you a disclaimer at the end of the session when we were learning qad in our very own Surah Taha, that, in Quran, the main purpose of qad is for tawqeed wa tahqiq. Okay, for emphasis, right? Does it make things clear to you all? That there can be many purposes of qad, but in Quran, it is being mainly used for emphasis. Okay, so now comes your amila. Amila is fail madin, wal fa'il damir mustatir huwa, as-salihati, you can label it as maful bihi, right? Everyone with me so far? Today I'm seeing, either I'm going too fast or you guys are tired. Okay, so now I'm seeing there is a jumlatu shartiya. Yes, absolutely you can label it as jumlatul etradiya, but let me just see what is coming up as fa, and then I will come back to it. Okay, so fa ulaika lahumud darajatul ula. So what is happening here? Fa is going to be starting my jawab again, because it is fa urabata. and the jawab is for adwatu shart jazima. The status of my jawab is going to be fi mahalli jazmin, because my jawab is muqtarin bil fa. Then comes ulaika. I'm going to label it as, it's going to be mubtada. It's a jumla ismiya here. Ulaika is my mubtada. And this mubtada has its khabar, which is, what kind of a khabar? Is there mufrad ism? If it is jumlatul ismiya, or you are going to call it jumlatul fi'liya or shubu jumla. What kind of a khabar do you have? Tell me the type of khabar. Your khabar is jumlatul ismiya. Barakallahu fi diba. Look at here. Ulaika is mubtada. And then there is this whole thing. Lahum jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil khabar muqaddam. Ad-darajatul ula is going to be my mubtada muakhar, right? And it is mawsuf was sifa, because they are matching in all four properties. So what is happening here? What is happening here? It is the whole sentence that is coming up as khabar for ulaika. Everyone with me now? Is this clear to all of you? That there is a jumlatul ismiya. If I asked you among the three types of akhbar, if it is a mufrad ism, or if it is a shubu jumla, or if it is a jumlatul ismiya wa jumlatul fi'liya, the answer is it is jumla, which is khabar of ulaika. So when the jumla is a khabar, the status of that jumla is going to be fi mahalli raf'in. But when I look at the whole thing with mubtada and khabar, the status is going to be fi mahalli jazmin, fi mahalli jazmin, because my jawab is muqtarin bil fa. Fi mahalli jazmin, because my jawab has faul rabita in the beginning, right? Then comes my question from my sister, that this small chunk, whoever comes to him, his Rabb, he is referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a believer. Indeed, indeed he has done, believer is the one who does the good deeds. So can this be jumla etaradiya, an interjection? Can it be? That's what Sister Faiza is saying. And jumlatul etaradiya is a sentence that comes between two grammatically related structures. Is there two grammatically related structures around this highlighted portion of the verse? How many of you agree with that? Right? This is etaradiya, no, it is not giving you tafsir. Tafsir, you are going to see Rabiha after something that was mubham, that was ambiguous. Just like, remember, in ishtighal, right? In ishtighal, you are going to see tafsir. Now you are going to see another example of with antafsiriya. After antafsiriya, you have your jumlatu tafsiriya. Wa'adna ila Ibrahima wa Ismaila antahira. What kind of a promise Allah took from Ibrahim and Ismail? He took a covenant, and then antafsiriya came, and after antafsiriya there was Felul Amr tahira, right? You two clean my house for those who do itikaf, tawaf, and who make ruku and sujood, right? So if sentence ended with wa'adna, you don't know what kind of a promise was taken from Ibrahim and Ismail. But after antafsiriya, you are seeing a sentence which clarified what was the promise about. Does it make sense? There was an ambiguity in the beginning with wa'adna by itself. You were not sure what promise, right? Here, qad amila salihat. Is there any ambiguity before? What do you think? Is there anything ambiguous that it came and clarified? What do you think? No, there is no ambiguity. It's very clear. Okay, so I hope you all are understanding this point, right? Yeah, everything is very clear, and then you're getting something additional, which could be labeled as hal. Now, there's one thing as well. If you see at some place, this is labeled as fi mahalli nasbin sifa li mu'minan. Yes. So Rashda, Diba, I was just saying it. Barakallahu fiki. Yes, And that, can it make sense? Does it make sense? Mu'minan, who has done righteous deeds. What do you think? So one sentence, and now you are giving me three explanations. Number one was jumlatu haliya fi mahalli nasbin. Number two, jumlatu sifa fi mahalli nasbin, sifa li mu'minan. Number three, jumlatu etradiya. And in that case, what will be the status? When you have jumla etradiya, those sentences are la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, right? Is this clear to all of you? That something in between came, a sentence came in between two grammatically related structures, and this sentence, if it is omitted, if I remove qad amila salihat, do I lose anything? Basically, do I lose? I'm not losing much on it, right? I'm not losing much information, right? It can be interjectory. It can be an interjectory sentence or interjection. So that is the three ways how you all can label. And I'm going to make sure that it's now your responsibility that your notes are so up to date, that you have everything written down and you have a rationale why something is being labeled in a certain manner. Okay, so if I ask you why are you saying it hal, you should have a reason for that. If I ask you why are you calling it sifa, there should be a reason for that. And if there is someone who's asked, why I'm calling it jumla to etradiya, you must be able to explain that to me. Ad-darajatul ula is a highest degrees, right? You already know it. Yes, we have covered this whole sentence at ulaika mubtada and lahumud darajatul ula is the jumlatul ismiya fi mahalli rafin khabar for ulaika. Now comes jannatu adnin. Jannatu adnin. What is, how can you, if I just give you, forget about the rest of the verse, okay? I want you to, I'm not saying forget about, just think, I want you to focus on this. If your sentence was this, was there any way, guys, just slow down, my dear, for just a bit. So jannatu adnin, was there any way you can connect it with whatever was before, in terms of ulaika lahumud darajatul ula? What, can you all think of it like that? What is the highest degrees? For them are the highest degrees. This highest degrees, you have to think about highest degrees. And then where is Jannah? Who knows where Jannah is? Anyone can tell me where Jannah is? Is it above us, do you think? Or is it below us? It is the highest, Jannatul Firdausil A'la, right? It's above us, right? So above highest degrees, can the Jannatu Adnin be replacement for them? Can I say Ulaika lahum Jannatu Adnin? Can if that is there, does this statement makes complete sense? Yes or no? My sister Faiza. Is it not the same thing? So in this case, ad-darajatu can be mubdil minhu, right? For jannat. Do you all agree? And jannat can be badal. Are they both in the same status? And that is the only thing that I want you to focus on when it comes to badal. That's the main thing. So everyone, and will it make any sense to call it mawsuf sifa? Highest degrees, jannatu adnin. Oh, it's very, the one, remember we type with when we have covered badal, I have given you a small exception there, right? Sometimes nasiyatun kazibatun, nasiyatun kazibatin khatiya, right? Remember that example? And I think I should have it in my session, because I now, from now onwards, I'm going to make sure, and I have been trying to make sure that whatever I'm teaching you, you have all the information from the previous sessions in that very session. So I think I had somewhere in a, not in, I don't think I have, imported the right slide, but you have one slide in Badal where I have given you, if your Badal is it has a sifa. If it has a sifa, then it's okay if they don't match in type. Okay. And basically, when we learn tawabe, what is the main thing that we need to focus on? When we are learning followers, tawabe, what is the main thing? Arab, which is a status. Very well done. Okay. So it is the Arab that you need to focus on. I deleted a message. I did not. Okay. Is this clear to all of you? Now, you also must keep in mind, some may say this Jannatu Adnin is, it is common. But some may say it is talking about a particular Jannah. So in that case, Adan is a specific, Jannah. Some according to have you ever heard about this difference of opinion that Adan is proper? Yes, it is. It is also, um, you know, um, going to be labeled by some as proper. Okay, so that also gives us an ease that it definitely can be arbadal. Okay, but I am sorry, it has a sifa coming. You can, if it has a sifa, then it is okay for it to be um common. And then there's another thing I'm going to go over with you very soon, that how a word that has a sifa or a word that has a mudaf ilayhi, how is it different from any nakira otherwise? Okay. Yeah. So, and that is for the next part of the verse. So for now, everyone can understand it as badal for darajatul ula, right? It can be badal for darajatul ula. Alhamdulillah. So my students are, I don't want anyone to be confusing this information. Okay, there should be no ambiguity, there should be no confusion. There are no two ways about it. For most part, when you learn things, it is for you to have concrete answers, not just random guesses and qiyas araiyan. Okay, so we learn and study, anything, so that we have some definitive answers for whatever we are learning. Okay, so here ad darajatul ula is mubdil minhu, and jannatu adnin can be badal for that. And there is an idafa, that is why jannatu is light. Okay, now comes tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. So it can be, if you agree with the scholars who call jannatu adnin as commonism, as this is who treat jannatu adnin as common, for them tajri min tahtiha al-anharu is going to be sifa for jannatu adnin, and it's going to be, let me complete, and it's going to be fi mahalli raf'in. Okay, if you want to side by the scholars who say that this is proper, then you are going to label tajri min tahtiha al-anharu as hal for jannatu adn. Right? Is this clear to all of you? Yes. If you are treating jannatu adnin as common, label jumla felia tajri min tahtiha al-anharu as if you are treating it as common, you treat it as a sifa. If you're taking it as proper, treat it as hal. Okay. Now comes khalidina fiha. Khalidina fiha, and Jannat is also, my dear, highest, so special, and yeah, and all the Jannats are anyways highest, yeah, right? They are very very high compared to where we are, because dunya is the lowest. Do you all know that? The word, the structure dunya means something that is lowest. Okay, it is not lower, it is lowest. Okay, a dunya is lowest. So now comes and khalidina, khalidina fiha. So you can, this is another hal. It is another hal, khalidina, for people who are um for ulaika lahum muddarajatul ula. This can be the hal for them, and fiha is jar wal majroor mutaalliq bil khalidina. Mutaalliq bil khalidina. Everyone with me so far? That you're going to just connect it to the word before it. Okay. Now comes another sentence, which is, can be a new idea, or kind of a, though it is connected to whatever is before, it's kind of, the same theme, but if you can also call it, this vow that is there can be called as isti'naf, as you're focusing on jannat and everything. Some may call it as vow istinafiya, and some, if they want to call it as atf and connected to the previous sentence, that can be okay too. The zalika jaza'u. Zalika is starting jumla ismiya, zalika is mubtada, jaza'u is going to be khabar, and jaza'u is light, and there is man following it, and this type of man, that is, it is man. So jaza'u man is an idafa, right? Jaza'u mudaf, man mudaf ilayhi, man is going to be mausula, as it is connecting whatever is before to whatever is after it. And tazakka in this case is silatul mawsul, jumlatu failya, fail madin, fail madin, la mahalla laha min al i'rab wal fa'il damir mustatir huwa. Everyone got it? Alhamdulillah. Any questions? This is your time to ask. Okay, this is your time to ask your questions. Okay, so when you have learned that, whoever purifies himself, after that there is a beginning, new beginning. وَلَقَدْ أَوْحَيْنَا. Now this vow, what do you think? Is it going to be totally, there is no ambiguity about this vow? What do you think? Right? That, you are starting a new topic. There is a talk about the one who comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, presents with a lot of bad deeds, and one who comes as a mu'min. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shifts the camera, and the camera is now over Musa alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to learn this part of the story. A new topic, this vow that starts a new topic, is going to be labeled as vow isti'nafiya, and there is a lam that is coming. And who can tell me the name for this lam? The lam that is followed by qad, lamul waqiya li jawabul qasam. And it can be lamul waqiya li jawabul qasam mawjood. It can be lamul waqiya li jawabul qasam mahzoof. Here qasam is mahzoof, so it is qasam mudmir, right? There is no mention, there is no wallahi, tallahi, billahi, nothing like that, right? There's no uqsimu, so there's no ukhlifu. So we are going to call it that in here, that this is lamul waqiya li jawabul qasam mahzoof. Then comes your qad, which is harf litahqiq wa tawqid. Everyone, right? We just went over it. The five types of qad. Among those five types, the type that you're mainly going to see in Quran is the type of qad which is harf tahqiq wa tawqid. Okay. Awhayna. Awhayna is your fail madin, and there is a file attached at the end, which is which is called Naul Fa'ilin. Naul Fa'ilin ila Musa is going to be jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil fail, right? It is muta'alliq bil fail. And what is going to be, how will you put i'rab on word Musa? Is it going to be some, or is it mabni, or because of alif it will be labeled as having something, or is it mu'arrab, or what, or is it among mu'arrab, it is mamnu min as-sarf. It is partly flexible, barakallahu fiki, it is partly flexible. And if it is jar and status, how does this word show its jar status? Bidamatus. Okay, so some are saying it is going to be, yes, it is going to be majroor bil fathatul muqaddara niyaba anil kasra li'annahu mamnu min as-sarf lil almiya wal ajamiya. Now, what does it mean? Let me tell you. It is going to have implied fatha, Because it is a name. It is a name which is a foreign name. So any foreign name like Ismail or Israel, can they take kasra when they are jar in status? How do they show their jar status? They show their jar status by a fatha. So is the case going to be in Musa. The alif is going to have a fathatul muqaddara, which is the replacement from kasra because the word is partly flexible. Okay. Then comes awhayna. So in now what if the sentence ended with walaqad awhayna ila Musa. Walaqad awhayna ila Musa. And surely, wallahi, indeed we revealed to Musa. Indeed we revealed to Musa an asri bi ibadi. An asri bi ibadi. An is going to be in this case. Remember those ans where you have a talb after it. There is a talb coming after an. Wait for some time. When awhayna, or especially with the af'al like awhayna, I would like you to wait for some time and see what is happening. If the sentence was just walakad awhayna ila Musa, okay. Now there is something coming after, which is still I need to know more about, what is happening after, after this amal. What is this thing about, right? What kind of a what is happening? There is more detail. There is some ambiguity, right? And there is a talbiya sentence, not always, but some, most of the time you're going to see filul amr after an tafsiriya. So an in this case is going to be an tafsiriya. An tafsiriya. So see here, does this sentence asri bi ibadi sounds like maqulul qawl? And that was another tip that I have given you in our previous sessions where we covered an tafsiriya. Is this asri bi ibadi looking like a quote statement? किसी का मुकालमा लगता है कि नहीं लगता? कि जैसे किसी की कहीं कहीं कोई बात हो जिसको हम इन्वर्टेड कॉमर्स के अंदर आराम से रख सकते हैं. ऐसे हो लगता है कि नहीं लगता कि फिर हमने वही की मूसा की तरफ. अच्छा, अब क्या वही की? कहते हुए कि तुम लेकर निकलो मेरे बंदों को रात के अंधेरे में, राइट? Is saying you let's see what Sahi International is saying. Where's my translation? So I want to, yeah. Travel by night with my servants. So travel by night with my servants. Are you seeing those quotes there? You are seeing these inverted commas before travel, right? So this an is an of quotes, the Angrezi name. The English name for this very an is going to be an of quotes. And this is basically an tafsiriya, where it is detailing out what has been revealed to Musa at that very time, that has been captured in Quran in verse number 77 of Surah Taha, right? So now you are seeing Asri as your Failul Amr, Bi Ibad and Wal Fa'il, Damir Mustatir, Anta. Do you all Anta? Every fail has a file. Every fail has a file. And here it is Anta Bi Ibadi, Jar wal Majroor. It's going to be Jar wal Majroor. Okay, so you travel by night with my slaves, and when you have this Jar wal Majroor, you can. How do you travel? Can it be hal? Hal mahzufa? Can this jar wal majroor be muta'alliq bi hal mahzufa? Okay, how to travel in nighttime? Can it answer bi ibadi? Answer your how question? If it does, it can be hal as well. Okay, you can call it muta'alliq bi hal. Everyone with me so far? Okay, so here when you have this kind of a thing, most when you have a mufradism, focus on muakkida and muassisa at that time, because most of these other details, when hal is shubu jumla or hal is a jumla, you will most of the time see a lot of details additional details, right? وَجَاءُوا أَبَاكُمْ يَبْكُونَ. I don't want to, yeah, I think I've misquoted the verse, but here, يَبْكُونَ, they came to their father. How did they came to your father? They came to their father crying. So yabkuna, which is a jumla, it is a lot of detail there, right? So mostly you will see, mostly you are going to see a lot of detail in that kind. So mostly it's going to be muassisa. So if you still want to treat it as muassisa or muakkida as well, so then mostly you will see jar wal majroor and jumlas that are jumlatain that you see as a hal as muassisa. So now, what is the status of a sentence that comes after an? What is the status of a sentence? Dilruba, you're killing it today. Barakallahu fiki. Your jumla tu tafsiriya is going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Your jumla tu tafsiriya, you have covered that in Surah Ar-Rahman. You have covered it in the previous session of Surah Taha, that whatever comes after an, ikdifi is going to be, if it is jumla to tafsiriya, it's going to be la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. It's not going to be now an masdariya. You have taken this an away from, this an is not an masdariya. This an is a different type of an, which is an tafsiriya. Is this clear to all of you? This is not an that is going to make masdarul mu'awwal. Are you all with me so far? It's very important. Status of an, yes, it is an tafsiriya. It is an which is harf tafsir. It is going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Is it clear? Got it? Alhamdulillah. Your harf is not going to be any different. You are going to still label it as harf. You are going to treat it as harf. There was another tafsiriya that you have recently covered, and it was very short. I tried to make it, brief so that people pay attention to it. Anyone remembers what tafsiriya that you have recently been is? Yeah, iza tafsiriya. Very good job. Because remember when we were learning the types of iza, I taught you iza fujaya, and then I gave you another one which was iza tafsiriya. So the sentence that is going to follow iza tafsiriya is a har la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab, and the jumla to tafsiriya that follows iza tafsiriya is again going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Clear? Type 1 if it is clear. Okay, because we have to cover this. We have alhamdulillah. Okay, so make sure small details, but we need to pay attention so that and my dear sisters, if you are going to go over your slides, if you intend to go over your slides, whatever are going to be given to you at the end of the session in a day or so, you will notice there is a lot of repetition every time I slide in lot of information that we have covered in our previous session. The purpose of putting Arab of Man Chartiya in the previous session was so that this is a chance for review. This is a chance for review. This is your chance for review and memorize. This is a chance for review and memorize details. Okay. So if you have another case where you will see the Mirushan, again, I'm going to put in the same slides for the Mirushan that have been shared with you in session number 183. Okay. The purpose is so, if somebody has not gone over and understood it for the first time, let's give them another chance so they understand it now. Okay. Inshallah. So then comes your fa. Allah says that, you travel by night with your slaves. Then what you do is, right when you're traveling, then you there may be a lot of things happening. And as Sister Faiza is saying, she's thinking that it's not just he traveled by night and then he just hit. No, she thinks that there may be a lot of information that happen in between. But if you this time, what do you think? So when he was traveling, and after traveling, he came to the river. Okay, he came to the river where he was asked to strike the river. He was asked to strike the river. If I'm going to say that this, you can call it fasiha. If you want to say that, there was a lot of information embedded between asri and idrib, you can call it fa al-atfa litartib wa taqib as well. It can be, you travel by night, and then the next thing that you do is make up a path in the water for them. Okay, it can be at tartib wa taqib, sequence more likely. Okay, okay, yeah. No, not because the both are majzoom, because both are filul amr. And yeah, one thing that you do this, and then then you strike the river. Okay, yeah, he needs, when you reached at the bank of the river, when the army is right behind you, then strike the water and make a path for them. Okay, for the Israelites, right? So either way, I can call it atf, and that will make sense too. You may find it labeled as atf li tartib taqib. That should not be an issue, because fa does take you from one event to another event, to Taqib as well. If I say that why I should be okay with calling it Taqib as well, because it has, Atf as well, it has Taqib too, right? So there's always, whenever whatever you are calling, you will find the meaning of Tartib but Taqib most of the times in different types of fas. Okay, remember that you will always find the result of something that after that follows fa, um, of what has happened before fa. Okay, so there is a result, then as a result, when he reaches the river, then he was asked to, at the end, it was followed by an action where he was asked to, you know idrib, he was asked to strike. So idrib is what kind of a fail? It is failul amr. Barakallahu fiki. Okay, so if in comparison, if I have to compare why wow out there, if I'm calling it fa al atf and not wow, why wow is does not make sense here? Why it cannot be any wow? Though there is yes, so there is, and there is also sequence, right? First of all, the sequence is there, right? First you have to travel, and then you have to strike. Because the sequence is there, therefore fa has been mentioned. The two orders, the two commands are not connected by wow, because here there is a sequence. First you have to do this, and then you strike. Okay, for them a path. So lahum is going to be jar wal majroor, muta'alliq bil fail, tariqan is going to be now your, what is tariqan? Tariqan is going to be your mafulun bihi for idrib, and fil bahri common ism followed by jar wal majroor. Mawsuf was sifa, muta'alliq bi sifa mahzoof, barakallahu fik, yabasan. And this path is going to be dry. Tariqan fil bahri. Can it be? Can I just call it? So some of you, another sifa, yeah, it can be tariqan yabasan, right? Sifa of the path. How the path should be? It should be dry path. Strike for them a dry path. What kind of a path? Dry path. Okay. Now comes la takhafu darakam wala takhsha. What is happening here? It can be la takhafu jumlatul failya la nafiya ghair amila. تخاف في المضارع مرفوع بضمة ظاهرة دركا is مفعول به. واو عطف لا نافية تخشى is going to be فعل مضارع مرفوع بالضمة المقدرة على الألف. And these two sentences, this la and the sentence following it is making hal for what? When you travel, you will be in a state for anta, in the in amr that has been there in asri, that you will not have, you will be in a state that way you will not be having any fear of being followed, or you will not you have any taksha, there is no fear for you in you will be in the state, You will not be afraid and you will not have any fear. Make sense? So not afraid of drowning and not fear, no, nor not you will be afraid of drowning, and before that you will not fear being overtaken by Pharaoh, nor be afraid of drowning. Make sense? Everyone with me? So this sentence, the first sentence is going to be fi mahalli nasbin jumlatu haliya, and the next sentence is fi mahalli nasbin because it is matufa, jumlatul matufa. Matufa means it is fi mahalli nasbin bil ataf. Because of ataf, it is going to follow the same status as its status is going to be the same as the status of la takhafu daraka. Yes, Pau is carrying the status over. Now what happened after this was being said? There is another event that is going to happen. فَأَتْبَعَهُمْ فِرْعَوْنُ. Then Fir'aun followed them. Fa, Sister Faisa is saying, is at litta tartib wa taqib. Everyone, do you agree with that? Then when this happened, Fir'aun followed them, right? It can be Paul at tartib. It's telling the sequence when they left in the night when Musa alayhi salam took his people. Fir'aun followed them. Again, yes, some may say that this can have some element of fasiha, that it can be foul fasiha. It can be, there can be a lot of information embedded there that is going to be that can have a meaning of fasaha, that can have fasaha in it. Most, yeah, you're right. You can say that you can say that it can be fasiha as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to atba'ahum, atba'a is fail madin, wal fa'il, fir'aun, and whom is going to be maful bihi. Bi junudihi, jar wal majroor, junudihi is your idafa. When you have bi junudihi, you have a jar wal majroor in jumlatul failure. Focus here. Fir'aun followed them. Can be with his troops. How did he follow? Can it be muta'alliq bi hal? Yes, it can be. Now in Quran there were so many examples of jar wal majroor that can be hal as well, but years ago we were not, we never learned hal as jar wal majroor, right? But now you must be able to identify it. If your jar wal majroor or zarf is answering your how question, it is going to be shubu jumla muta'alliq bi mahzuf hal. Okay, and it is a hal for Fir'aun. Is Fir'aun proper? Absolutely, very proper, right? فَغَشِيَهُمْ. Fa is going to be, you can label it as again at. Ghashiya is going to be fail madin, wal file, fail madin. Let's just, stop here. Ghashiya, fail madin. Whom is maful bihi. Minal yam is going to be your jar wal majroor, muta'alliq bil fail. Okay. Now comes your ma ghashiyahum. So ma, what kind of a ma is this? Mausula, good job, and it is an outside doer for ghashiya that is present before, right? So it is because ghashiya was huwa ghashiya, it can take an outside doer, which is ma al mausula, and after mausul you always have a silatul mausul, which is jumla failya, fail madin, the same fail madin ghashiya, and with file the main mustatir huwa, and whom is going to be your mafulun bihi. Everyone with me so far? So this was the end of our session, where we ended up with verse number 78, and I hope it made some sense, and you know what types of events are occurring in your Surah Taha. Min al yammi. So hal of yam, hal of al yam, hal of no, so what it covered them, it covered it. Min al yummy, you want to call it as hal for what? Are you asking me that can min al yummy be hal for something? Can it be again jar wal majroor muta'alliq bi hal? In terms of, yeah, can be, but here you are seeing it muqaddam. And yeah, it can make sense. Yeah. What it covered them in terms of water. So yes, that is making sense, because min here is for tabyin. Yes, you're right. You're right, Diba. Yes, min is right. Ma ghashiyahum. What covered them? What covered the troops of Fir'aun? What do you think? You tell me based on what you know. The troops of Fir'aun were drowned in water, right? So minal yammi, remember in our last session we learned about min biyaniya. Min biyaniya. If min is followed by an ism which gives you an information about ma al mausula, that min, that jar wal majroor I told you can be labeled as hal, right? Can be labeled as hal. And there is a slide in your session, and it has been uploaded in on you on our channel. Okay, if ma is followed by min bayaniya, the jar wal majroor fragment that is formed can be labeled as mutalik bi hal mahzufa if that jar wal majroor is explaining that ma al mawsula. Yes, here you are seeing a taqdeem of jar wal majroor, but it is still explaining your ma al mawsula, isn't it? Right? Is this min al yammi? Ma ghashiyahum. Ma is referring to what? Ma is referring to water. What it covered them. Isn't it, wasn't it the water that was covering them? No? Was the troops of Pharaoh not covered by water? They were covered by water. And and Bani Israelites were seeing them that in front of the eyes, in front of their own very eyes. They saw the troops covered in water, and they saw them drowning in water, right? No? Oh, is there any disagreement? So min al yami, you can call it as min bayaniya, and al yami is because it is min bayaniya because it is explaining what covered the troops of Fir'aun. So with that, I will end the session, and it's a very important question that you brought, Diba, as always. Barakallahu fiki. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have gone over time, so inshallah we'll cover the rest in our next session.